Harry's relationship with his family has just gone from bad to worse after he compared growing up in the royal family to being in a zoo or on The Truman Show. The rogue royal also appeared to fire a shot specifically at his father, criticising the way he was raised.
I've experienced some form of pain or suffering because of the pain or suffering that perhaps my father or my parents had suffered. I'm going to make sure that I break that cycle so that I don't pass it on, basically. We, as parents, we should be doing the most that we can to try and say, you know what, that happened to me, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen to you.
Royal commentator Camilla Tominey joins us now. Camilla, I don't know, what did you think of it? He just can't stay quiet, can he?
It's a curious one, this, Ali. On one hand, this couple left the UK because they wanted to seek a quiet life and be below radar, and yet Harry particularly just can't stop making noise. And it does come to the fact that he does seem to keep on wanting to criticise the family that he's apparently keen to patch it up with. Goodness knows what Prince Charles and indeed the Queen may have made of this if they've listened to the podcast. But yeah, I don't think there's room for reconciliation just yet.
It doesn't seem like he has, or in any way wants to salvage his relationship with his family.
Well, it's just really difficult. I mean, we've got people over in the US briefing various different lines from the couple, unofficial spokesmen saying that calls between him and the royals aren't productive, which isn't productive in itself, I guess. And equally, we hear from this side of things that, you know, the royals are quite reluctant to speak to them because they're fearful that any of their private conversations might end up on CBS or Oprah.
Yeah, I mean, he said in that podcast that he wanted to leave the royal job in his 20s. Do you think that'll put to bed these concerns that Meghan is the one to blame for their departure from London?
We always knew that he had had reservations about being a full-time working royal and actually had confessed in interviews he'd rather have escaped to Africa and got away from it all. So we can't always solely blame Meghan, but I think the marriage to Meghan gave those feelings rocket fuel, and certainly they made the decisions that they made when they issued that Megxit bombshell back in January 2020 together, certainly.
The issue Harry's got here is, like, I think we all appreciate then the difficulties he's faced, the mental health battles he's had. But when you see a person who's grown up, a man grow up in the enormous privilege, complaining again and again about his upbringing, how does that sit with the public over there?
Well, not brilliantly. Of course, we know, Ali, that, you know, just being rich and famous doesn't mean that you don't have mental health problems. And I think the world can sympathise with how difficult it must have been for him and William, losing their mother at such a young age and having that play out in the public gaze. Having said that, of course, we've just gone through a horrific 14 months where people are losing their jobs and business people are losing their livelihoods, and actually people have lost their lives in coronavirus. So to hear these two bleating on from their multi-million-dollar mansion in Montecito probably does rub up some people the wrong way.
Are you saying he's a little tone deaf?
I'm saying that perhaps they could be a little more thoughtful in their approach to talking about how difficult their life has been in the face of what others have experienced over the last year.
I've noted today two Republican campaigners, they're calling on Prince Harry to call for the monarchy to come to an end. I mean, I don't know, is Harry a Republican these days?
Who knows? I mean, maybe we'll find out, Ali, if their next Spotify podcast includes a contribution from Malcolm Turnbull, Kevin Rudd, Julia Gillard. Perhaps he can get them on all there and discuss this issue as far as the Commonwealth is concerned. But, yeah, I mean, he's certainly championing the Republican cause, if not his own family matters.
Oh, the poor Queen, huh?
Well, I know it's the last thing she needs, really, although, as ever, she's been a trooper this week, talking about winning life-saving badges when she was a young girl, having audiences, making her first public appearance at the state opening of Parliament. So, look, she keeps calm and carries on at 95 throughout, which is perhaps the saving grace here.
Indeed. Camilla, always good to talk to you. Thank you.
You've come around on the Harry situation. That's nice.
What do you mean I've come round?
Well, obviously the Queen's used to him whining. You know, she's been through real hardships, and I think that, you know, him continuing...
Have I changed my view on
You have a little
Harry?
bit, yeah. You said, oh, the poor Queen.
The poor Queen, yeah. Yeah, but I was just mindful of his mental health challenges.
Look, you know, I get all of that, Ali, but
that was a very
the
big
guy
sigh.
doesn't need to go and from his mansion start rabbiting on about how hard life is when he's got enormous privilege, and he keep bagging his family just get on with it. Just get on with it. Take a lesson out of the Queen's book and just get on with it. Carry on.
Carry on, my friend.
I'm not saying anything more about that.
Are you going to continue to carry on?
I was going to.